Quick question for you. In your opinion, have video games become too easy? I remember playing games like those in the 2D Mario series as a kid and being forced to, actually beat a level before the game would progress. And if I died, I had to go all the way back to the beginning and try again. Red Dead Redemption 2's approach to difficulty is to offer no explicit difficulty setting and to offer players the ability to skip mission checkpoints if they fail a particular objective 3 consecutive times. And all this got me wondering, wait a minute, is it possible to beat Red Dead Redemption 2 without actually beating it? In other words, can you fail your way through this game, skipping every checkpoint all the way straight through to the end credits? This video looks at that exact question for the game's first chapter. Let's get into it.
Are you sure about this?
What's good, everybody? If you're new here, welcome to the channel, and thank you for joining me on this journey. If you've been with the channel for a while, you might remember that last year I streamed a no-death playthrough of Red Dead Redemption 2 Story Mode. Yeah, go ahead and think of this as the opposite of that run. Here are some ground rules before we get into things. First off, yes, I'm aware of the abandoned feature you can access through the task menu. I'm only going to allow myself to use this once per chapter as a sort of lifeline. The spirit of what I'm trying to do with this challenge is to fail these missions in as many different ways as possible, hopefully with hilarious results. To that end, I am going to set up a scoring system. For every unique mission failure condition I achieve in this video, I'm going to award myself 5 points. Most mission checkpoints are failed by either running away or letting a member of Dutch's gang bite the dust. For the sake of time and simplicity, I'm not going to be showing every failure, and furthermore, if there's a variation of a certain failure condition, I'm not going to let that count toward my score multiple times. Also, for every mission checkpoint I'm unable to fail, I'm going to be deducting 10 points from my score. Stay tuned to see which checkpoints gives me trouble, and let me know in the comments if you know of a way to get around them. You'll also get to see Arthur's reward at the end of the video, which is going to be based on his score. How many points do you think you'll get? And now, on to the first mission.
This is not going to go the way you think.
Our first objective is to follow Dutch. Yeah, right, it's way too cold out here. Arthur seeks shelter in the cabin with the rest of the gang, only to be shut out by an invisible wall.
You win again, technology!
That leaves him with one option, which is, naturally, to run off into the night in a blizzard like a madman, and thus scoring the first points of the run. Nice work, Arthur. Arthur runs away a few more times until he's presented with a fight with the O'Driscolls at this cabin. At this point, he does consider putting on his big boy pants and engaging in a fight, but no, it's still way too cold for that. He tries to seek shelter in the cabin, but alas, he's cut down in his prime. Hey, look at that, more points. The fighting concludes and Arthur is tasked with inspecting a nearby barn. He does his due diligence and he discovers that he can, in fact, injure himself by falling from the roof of the barn.
I'm going to jump! Do a flip!
I call that a successful inspection, since now anyone who comes across the barn is going to know that gravity is not their friend. Once inside the barn, Arthur is jumped by a pro-gravity O'Driscoll. He doesn't believe that gravity can hurt anyone, and a fistfight ensues. It's like the Crusades all over again, except there's less blood and fewer Catholics. Dutch stands there as Arthur is brutally beaten, and I skip ahead to the first real challenge this run presents. One thing I learned in this challenge is that open space is my friend. If I can run away from an objective, I can fail it. However, the tricky part here is that once I'm inside the barn with the option to interrogate the O'Driscoll, I lose the ability to leave the barn. Furthermore, I can't do many basic functions here, such as shooting, because those are disabled during the sequence. I thought, maybe if I wait around, the O'Driscoll will get up, try to escape, and then he'll run right by Dutch and somehow that will fail the mission. That didn't happen, no matter how long I stood here. I thought, maybe if I climb up to the loft where the O'Driscoll jumped me from, maybe I could kill Arthur if I fell off it enough times, but no, that's not even an option. There's no ledge to grab onto, plus the jump/climb feature is also disabled during the sequence. I thought, well, this is great. I'm gonna have to use my lifeline on the very first mission of the game, but then I found a solution. If I interrogate the O'Driscoll, then let him go, and then chase after him once he leaves the barn, it is possible to fail this mission and revert back to the checkpoint where I have to interrogate him. Crisis averted, and the first mission is done. Searching for John wasn't too difficult. Arthur starts by eliminating places where John is not, hoping to find him by process of elimination. Arthur can confirm that John is not here, here, or here. It's possible he's down here, but nope, that's a rock. One thing I'll address is the part where Arthur has to carry John up the hill. I'm going to consider this a sort of interactive cutscene. One, because the game stays in widescreen, so you don't get full control of Arthur. He will move forward on his own as well, even if the player doesn't do anything. Like I say, I consider this an interactive cutscene, and for that reason, I'm not going to award or deduct any points for this particular part. Once the cutscene finishes, and you get control of Arthur again, he is given the one job of protecting John and Javier from the wolves. Instead, Arthur chooses to be an agent of chaos because he wants to alter the plot of Red Dead Redemption 1. Boy, oh boy, men back in the day were a lot tougher than they are these days. Back then, they could have their throats ripped out by a wolf, and they would still make it home in time for dinner, where the women who prepared the dinner would inevitably complain about the lack of basic necessities in 19th century America, like running water and voting rights. Toughen up, ladies. At least wolves didn't eat your vocal cords. Next up is the manly task of going hunting with Charles. Arthur liked this mission a lot, as he got to show off his expert hunting skills.
You're gonna need the bow. Don't leave it on your horse. A gun will scare everything around. No, use the bow I gave you.
Okay.
He liked using them so much, he was eager to show off those skills against a grizzly bear.
No, use the bow I gave you.
Okay.
You sure about this?
That's a good thing. Men back in the day were tough. So tough, in fact, they run away in fear like pansies at the thought of skinning a dead animal. Dutch leads the gang in an attack on an O'Driscoll camp. This one's fairly simple to fail. Arthur charges in a few times, early, alerts the camp, dies, he runs away a few times, and then the battle is over. Chasing down the surviving O'Driscoll does present 2 additional scoring opportunities, as he can both die and escape. The gang follows that mission up with an attempted train robbery. Bill here looks like he needs help with the dynamite, so Arthur graciously steps in to offer his assistance.
Can I help a little?
All right.
Arthur also settles the debate of who is at fault for the dynamite not going off when you play this mission normally. The wire is fine. As you can see, when Arthur shoots the detonator, the dynamite explodes. So the fact that the dynamite doesn't go off when Bill presses down on the detonator, again, that's what happens when you play this mission normally, that is 100% on Bill. Once the train gets past the dynamite, Arthur attempts to stop it by missing it entirely, which is a big brain play if you ask me. Lenny then follows that attempt with the stunning and brave decision to try to stop the train by hanging from it and screaming like a girl and then falling.
I'm falling, Arthur! Help! Catch me! Oh!
No Lennies were harmed in the making of this video. The close of the mission presented Arthur with the second major problem in Chapter 1. After blowing open the door to the train car, Arthur enters it to loot it. Lenny is an absolute champ, and we love him because he survived his fall off the train and is now standing before us with no injuries whatsoever. The problem is, he is blocking the door, which is our only escape, and there's nothing you can do to move him other than loot the bonds from inside of Cornwall's cabinet. It's very similar to the barn sequence. You can't shoot, you can't do much of anything really other than what the game intends you to do, which is get the bonds. And then once you do get them, Lenny and Micah will leave the back of the train car. If Arthur gets anywhere close to the exit and attempts to run away, a cutscene plays where he exits and he walks up to the gentlemen that are on the ground in front of him. Even if he then runs away from those guys that are on the ground, the game is going to revert him back to staring at them, so it doesn't put him back in the train car. All that to say, unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to get around this checkpoint, so I had to use my lifeline of the abandoned task feature. That doesn't award me any points, and it is the one lifeline I get for this chapter, but surely nothing bad is going to happen in the last mission of the chapter, right? Wrong! After some questionable wagon driving, you'll skip to a checkpoint where Arthur has to fix the wagon wheel. There was nothing I could do here to avoid this checkpoint, unfortunately. I tried to drop the wagon wheel, I tried to have Arthur back away from it. I thought maybe if I stood here and don't do the mission for a long enough time, Hosea and Charles will get tired and they'll drop the wagon, and that'll fail the checkpoint, right? No such luck. Hosea, despite being, 900 years old, apparently has the strength of an ox. When 900 years old you reach, be as strong you will not. Once I begrudgingly had Arthur fix the wheel, I took the 10-point hit to the final score and drove off the cliff to finish Chapter 1.
The Indians in these parts got sold a very raw deal.
It seems like something is trying to get a nibble, but it can't quite find the tip.
Well, I just got back from swimming in the pool, and the water was cold.
Shrinkage.
Yes, significant shrinkage.
Well, there you have the answer. I wasn't able to totally beat Chapter 1 without beating it. I came really close. If anyone has a way to get past looting the train car and fixing the wheel without using the abandoned task feature, I would love to hear about it in the comments. Depending on how well this video is received, I may go through and do the other chapters like this as well. It's a random, goofy type of a challenge, but I had fun making it, and that's what counts, right? I do want to say thanks for watching it and for all the support on my recent videos. It means a lot. Until next time, you guys are awesome, and make it count.